spawning up in the top left-hand position as the green Zerg player representing Team Dignitas, currently tied 1-1. It is Tefel. And his opponent down in the bottom left, the Protoss player who brought it back in the second game to level out this series, representing Vega, it is Weak. Nice play by Weak there. Really, Tef was pushed. I don't want to say he was doomed from the start, but he needed a very good attack arc and those force fields not to hit the money. And the reason for that is because there was a good number of Colossi already out, and he had no follow-up. He had no fourth base, he had no tech, and basically if that push didn't work, it was GG, and that's why Tef was GG'd out. He knew he put a lot of money in that to try and end the game quickly. Unfortunately, the push hit a bit too late. If there was only one Colossus out with the second one popping, it could have gone different. There just wouldn't have been the damage. But the other critical thing that made a monumental difference was the fact that we had the 2 O-ground upgrades, whereas Tefel had no upgrades. That is so massive, especially when you got Colossi and their splash damage. It makes an insane amount of difference. But anyway, enough about that. Tefel, this game is still opening the same, and I don't think you will see any variation from him. Tefel, in all the games of his I've cast, doesn't really vary his early game. He has a safe early game where he doesn't do anything crazy, he doesn't take any big risks. He's like, I want to get to the mid game. His game plan is pretty much worked out against Protoss, and from what I've seen, that he gets up his natural base, gas, gets up to 100 gas, takes speed, and then takes a third, and once his third's down, he gets out around 18 Zerglings. Those 18 Zerglings give him map control, and then everything's quite good. But there's a lot on the line now, and the reason for that is because this is the Go4SC2 Monday event, so therefore whoever wins it, or wins this game, goes into the finals. The second place gets 25 euros, the first place gets 50 euros, and also a guaranteed qualification into the monthly finals for 200 euros of Go4SC2. That's a good place to be in. You want to get that qualification because then you don't have to play in all the other weeklies, the Thursdays and Sunday Cups, to try and earn your spot. So, very powerful. Anyway, for the moment, Cybernetics Corp coming down here for Weak. He's playing the same build as well. Nexus should be on its way. No pylon down on the low ground this game, and that's because this ramp's wider compared to Cross. So, that's the big difference. Whether he goes for a similar playstyle, we'll have to wait to see, but for the moment, Weak has scouted Tefel, but Tefel has also scouted Weak. I missed that Overlord. I don't know why. It kind of merged because it's green and with a tree. Of course, down here you have a cool little altar, which I think just looks awesome, with the Protoss player with no arms. Don't know why that Protoss has no arms. Anyone in chat, welcome suggestions to why a Protoss on that altar has no arms. I'm sure there must be some kind of lore to it. Someone will recognize it. It was like on Frost when I pointed out the carrier. Someone's like, that is an important carrier. And then the chat were discussing deep lore things about which carrier it was. But anyway, Tefel, he's busy getting down speed. He's pulled the drones out of gas once more. Should be setting up his third base relatively soon. Remember, this third base, not this one. Don't expand towards your opponents. Expand away. Yeah, so that'll all be coming down. Meanwhile, Stargate once again. So game number 1, we saw Voidway come out of this Stargate. Game number 2, we saw an Oracle. Game number 3, will we see Phoenix? Well, I don't know, but we are seeing the Forge again, and that's actually really cool. The reason this Forge is so essential is because, remember, Game 2 wasn't solely won by it, but definitely a contributing factor was the great upgrades from Weak throughout. They were really strong, and just allowed him to demolish that 3-base push that came out from Tefel. So, getting those upgrades down again would certainly be a wise choice. Interestingly, a cannon is also being placed in the front. This is different to the last game, and I think the main reason for this is because of how persistent Tefel was in game number 2 of using those early speedlings to try and break the front. So by getting this cannon, when the speedlings are once again coming, really it's Weak saying, I'm safe. I want to make sure that this isn't going to cause any problems. For the sake of 150 minerals, which is less than what all of these Zerglings cost, I'm definitely secure. There's a Zealot there, as you can now see, so it's not like the Warlord wasn't clean. I did panic for a moment, but it's all good. Phoenix are coming out, so now we've seen every possible Stargate opening from the Vega player. And how Phoenix is going to work out for him? Well, for the moment he's going to take out one Overlord. That's already quite good. There's no more Phoenix on their way either, which is quite interesting. So, in terms of cost, that's nothing too bad. But the big thing is actually supply blocks Tefel for about 10 seconds, which I know it doesn't seem like a huge amount, but it's definitely helpful. This placement of this evolution chamber is just monumentally awesome. Using the creep spread up on the high ground there, just about in the middle, because he doesn't want Weak to know the +1 attack is coming through. And when you do only see that one evolution chamber with the lair coming down, generally it's going to be missile attack for some kind of roach hydra timing. Now, with really the third base up, Tefel's drone count will start to skyrocket. He's probably going to get up to about the 60-70 drone mark. He usually tends to stop there as opposed to going much higher, but Weak, he's got +1 nearly done. This Stargate has only been used for the one Phoenix currently, and I believe that one Phoenix is still alive. Yeah, it is. Just chilling around. I'm going to go and join the hallucinated one as well. And sending the two in together would actually be quite a smart move, because then Tefel wouldn't necessarily know that it was hallucinated and could potentially then overreact, thinking that there's a lot more on the way. But here comes down the Roach and Hydrogen. The hallucinated Phoenix will come through, and yeah, everything revealed. Sees all of it. And Weak now has good vision and good knowledge about what could be occurring. But does he correctly assume that that's going to be the +1 attack? Well, probably yeah. Now he's seen the Hydra and Roach Den on its way. But Roach speed coming down, which is different to what we've seen previously. This is going to be another big push. And that would be absolutely awesome. Assuming that Weak tries to take the third. Weak's best response here is to try and get up into a relatively strong position while harassing. Because he's going to have to defend. He can't take on the army Tefel is making now in a head-up fight. He just won't have the resources to do that, or the army to do that without Splash. But with Blink, he can be very cost-effective. He's got a lot of gateways, and he's going to just try and really hold this out. With the wall off, he should have an okay job of doing it, as long as the Blink Stalkers don't get completely surrounded. Especially if +2 is able, or sorry, +1 armor is able to come down. But Speedlings coming to for a third, they're not going to see it. Note the additional Stalkers not yet getting revealed. A few more Speedlings will get taken down, but that reveals that there's a lot of Stalkers, and even without seeing the Twilight Council, I believe that really Tefel now can assume, okay, he must have Blink. There's too many Stalkers here, it's a big gateway push, I need to get out Hydralisks, Hydras and Lings, as many of them as I can possibly make. And yeah, as we see things start moving forward, that's where we're going to get a bit more pressure coming through, but it's a very cautious position for Weak, because he knows even though he's got Blink Stalkers, if his army were to get surrounded by Speedlings and the Hydra's got a good attack arc, it would be GG. He would not be going through to the finals, and Tefel would advance 2-1. But the longer he waits, the more Hydras get out, and the bigger Tefel's army is to deal with this. Tefel is already approaching double the army supply of his opponent, so these Stalkers need to do poke damage. They need to get in. They need to try and take some stuff out. But Tefel is coming from the side. A Time Warp used very early there. Tefel not going to get baited. Trying to wait for the right opportunity. And that is the smart way to play. But in now come the Roaches and those Hydras. They're head up fighting. Which is going to win? Well, the Stalkers, they are taking a lot of damage. And the Roaches and the Hydras pushing through. As we see though, these Stalkers will not last long against this many Roaches and this many Hydralisks. They are all getting pushed out. GG is called. And Tefel takes the series 2-1.